Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Dynasty Hot Seat. It's the only Dynasty show out there that is a certified inferno. And today, running with the theme, we've got another guest back on the show. We've got Antonio, who is back with us today. You can find him over at FF_LightsOut7 over on Twitter. He's writing for 5 Yard Dynasty. He's doing some stuff for the Play Action Pass podcast as well. You guys, if you've seen him before, you know that we are in for an absolutely great show. So without further ado, let's get it started right now. Yes, we are back, and we're back with the one and only Antonio Carnevale as well. Absolutely brilliant to have you back on the show, mate. How are you doing this fine day?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thank you, Max. I was too busy jamming to your intro music there. I thought you might have caught me going for it, giving all the drums at the end. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's catchy. I go, in and out of waves with it. But yeah, today was a good one. I was feeling it as well. Yeah, feeling it too. So we're knee deep in Dynasty season now, Antonio, right? We are so close to those all-important playoffs. How's the season been going for you? You happy with progress, or is it sort of like most years, some wins, some losses, and take what you can?
Well, obviously that as well, but overall, I think it's been a successful year, to be honest. So I can't, it's incredible. This week 14 already. You said it there, but it goes so fast, and we spent all off season, especially in the Dynasty community, talking about our Dynasty teams, and then it's week 14 before you know it, which is great. But in terms of how the season's gone, I've actually done better this year in Dynasty than redraft, and usually it's the other way around. So that might be because the Dynasty teams are starting to flourish. I would love to think that, but it might just be luck, to be honest. So we'll probably go with that as well. But yeah, I've enjoyed that.
You have to have a pinch, right?
Oh,
you gotta have a little pinch of luck. But no,
absolutely.
I reckon it's mostly from what I've seen. It is regular season. It is a little bit of luck, but it is mostly people who know what they're doing end up in the playoffs. Playoffs is a different kettle of fish. Like it's
cup competition.
Exactly. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I think getting into the playoffs that's mostly skill. So I think if you're doing well, you should give yourself a little pat on the back for sure.
Cheers, mate.
Fantastic, yeah. And you're here. You're here to obviously show us one of your teams a little bit later, and we'll talk through one of my teams. A little bit different. One of my teams. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, no, don't worry. It's nothing too serious. Yeah, I know. Right. We got the flames underneath. I changed the flames. The flames gave me a headache last week, so sorry anyone watching. I had to change the flames to more subtle flames this week. So we're going to start things off, Antonio. You got any hints and tips for the people watching and listening at home?
Yeah. So there was quite a few hints and tips the first show I came on, so I'll try not to repeat that. But focusing middle of the season now, you're either obviously pushing for that playoff spot and you feel like you're a contender, or you kind of realize that the dream is over for this year. Some of your players got injured, lots of that IR slots are taken up, and you're thinking about next year. So you probably had this before on your shows, but you really need to start evaluating your team just before the playoffs, I would say. And have one of the hints really, or tips, is keep an eye on that trade deadline, because if your Dynasty League has a trade deadline or not, because some do and some don't, you need to be kind of attacking the trades at the end of that deadline, because there will be teams there desperate for players who are older, maybe like a Devontae Adams or someone in that range who's absolutely flying at the moment, but is on the older side of things. They could propel that team to a playoff push, and your team might not be ready for it. So you'll take the first quite happily there in that situation for next year. So I mean, there's quite a few other ones I've been looking at this year to push, because obviously for trading, going along that same theme of trading, I've been looking at who am I playing in the next couple of weeks, and looking when Yeah, and trying to match up the bye weeks with them, because obviously, you could look at way into week 10 or week 11, and your opponent has got someone who your whole team, could be on bye, and your opponent could have a few players that you'd like to take for that week. In Dynasty, it's quite easy to swap those players. In redraft, it's a bit harder because people are switched on. Oh, look, I'm playing you in week 11 or 12.
Yeah.
That player's on bye, you're not having him for that week. But in Dynasty, don't forget, you can attack that bye week matchup quite easily, because younger players, teams are falling out of the playoffs. So I look at buys and I look at trade deadlines towards this side of the season, this time of the season in Dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely great idea. And I think, that assessing your team, and sometimes, and I've kind of been looking at them as well. Obviously, you got to be honest with yourself, but try not to be too harsh as well. Like, there might be some teams you look at and you think, wow, I missed the playoffs. Like, I need to go and sell all my running backs now. I need to go sell all these old guys. But, like, have a little look at your injured reserve. Have a little look as well at the total overall points scored, because you might have just been unlucky, right? There's a high chance that you've missed the playoffs, but actually you scored second in overall points scored. Yeah. So don't kind of just automatically think, I've missed the playoffs, I need to, blow this whole thing up and start again. Like, if, your team is obviously missing huge pieces at wide receiver or a tight end or a quarterback, then that's the time to get rid of those running backs. But if you can honestly say that you just had a bit of an injury bug, things just haven't quite worked out. Like, maybe you had like a Trey Lance in your team. Maybe you had all these guys that have gone down. Javonte Williams, obviously. These kind of guys that have gone down. Sometimes you're just unlucky. So don't be afraid to say, I was just unlucky that time, and we'll keep the same band together and we'll roll into next year. And then you might think it's time to reassess. So don't be too keen to hit the nuclear button and just get rid of everything. Unless you absolutely have
to. You have to, yeah. But that's a really good point. I pick up on something you said about points scored is quite interesting, because, I might show you this in an example later, but on Sleeper, it only goes really on points scored is the tiebreaker. Whereas, in other leagues, you could have that tiebreaker as head-to-head or whatever. If you're playing on Sleeper with a points scored system, you're never really out of it if you scored high, because at the end of the year, there's a lot of people around that kind of 5, 6, 7 spot. If you've scored high, you might be unlucky in matchups, but if you score in high, you might sneak in. So we'll have a look at one of those probably a little bit later. And the other thing I would say is have a look at position groups and find out where you're weakest. And know where you're weakest in those position groups, because then obviously you want to be starting to look at the draft, free agency. Who, is this a strong free agent wide receiver group? Is this a strong free agent running back after the Super Bowl? So just have a look at your position groups and evaluate where you are strongest or where you are weakest.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point about the free. That was kind of our main talking point the last time we were on, right? Yeah. Was those kind of free agents, and especially the running backs. And
we highlighted Josh Jacobs. We actually highlighted him on the show. I think Josh Jacobs, he's like RB2.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
But the running back landscape, I mean, good luck trying to guess what's going to happen. Right. Anyone drafting early for like new leagues next year or trying to figure out what to do, some people are going to be really disappointed, because running back by committee, it has started already. But I think after this year, we're going to see that it's here to stay, because I think that is the way things are going to go, especially with all these guys coming in, right? I mean, just every week you see a new guy that's coming out and looking amazing from these 23 running backs. Like, even people like at the start of the year, you're like, who's that guy? Like people like Deuce Vaughn and people like that. You're like, oh, he's actually quite good. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen come next year with these running backs. But for now, Antonio, we're going to have a look at this year and see how two teams are doing. We'll start with my team here, Antonio. I'll let you close out the show with yours. So this team is one poor little orphan team, right? That I picked up at the start of the year. Possibly in the worst state I've ever seen a Dynasty team. So we're going to have a little look and see what I've managed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I think, 2-11. It is bad.
Well,
Kind of
at
by
the
design.
moment, it's right now 2-11.
Yeah, I'm dead last, but kind of by design. Kind of by design. I've sold every older asset I could. I'm still trying to sell as many as I can, and I've got. Well, we'll have a look at what I've got to work with as well. So let's see the team I started last week, and feel free to laugh as well. It is okay whenever you see whoever is at the start. Doesn't look too bad there. We got Tua.
No, it doesn't look
up
that
at
bad.
the top. We got Antonio Gibson, and we got Rachaad White as well, who is over at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we got Chris Godwin, Keelan Allen, and then Alan Lazard in there. Not too awful. Taysom Hill was my tight end. Jahan Dotson in there. Yeah, Daniel Bellinger. Yeah, sadly, I think I'm not sure if I won last week. I wasn't intending to win last week, but what? Daniel Bellinger in there, Khalif Raymond, and then Justin Herbert, who I'm loving in there. So, actually, in the face of it, not too bad. Did a lot of work with that team, especially in the quarterback room to try and get some of these quarterbacks. And I think I brought in Chris Godwin as well. On the bench, Trevor Lawrence, who I also bought in. Mike White got him off waivers. Deshaun Watson, who I also traded for. Zach Wilson, who I also traded for.
Keep moving, keep scrolling.
We got Marcus Mariota. We got Mark Ingram, Jerick McKinnon, Marlon Mack, Ronnie Rivers, is it? Ronnie Rivers?
Is that Philip Rivers?
Yeah, may as well be. We've got Hollywood Brown. We got Albert O. Our guy Mitchell out of Detroit, Brevin Jordan, and Tommy Tremble. And then, I traded for Kyle Pitts as well. That worked out. All right. A couple of these guys. Washington and Pitts and Bateman and Robinson on the injured reserve. Taxi squad, Jordan Love, Trace Sermon, Khalil Shakir, Kyle Phillips. And then we got our 323 firsts, 323 seconds, 324 firsts as well.
That's beautiful.
So,
how many, what league is this? 10 or 12-man league?
I think this is a 12-man league, if I am remembering correctly. It is. So you can see my team name is
Sell. That's just to remind you, just in case you actually start winning, you need to be reminded by your screen.
It is actually only a 10. It is only a 10-man league, so that makes that team look even worse. So, to be honest with you, I'm not really concerned about my starting lineup. I thought we'd mix things up a little bit. We'll set the lineup, but what I am more concerned about is, what do I do with this team going forward? What are the players you think I should try and ship off? And what are the players you think I should keep a hold of? Okay. So I think we can do that maybe via the starting lineup. So we'll start with quarterbacks, and then we'll have a look and see what we can do. So Tua is listed as questionable. He had a very off week last week. I'm not sure. Have you heard much about Tua's injury for this coming week?
No, I haven't heard it. He didn't finish the game, did he? If I remember, they pulled him, but I think they were losing heavily in San Francisco. It wasn't going great. I think we got to assume he starts. I haven't heard enough to say that he's not going to this week. So, I mean, your quarterback room is strong.
First thing
I remembered when I saw Herbert and Lawrence. I think you got on the bench, Watson. That's a strong quarterback room. If it was a 12-man league, I mean, that'd be great. But, even in a 10-man league, there's some strong quarterbacks there. So, I would, So, I mean, Tua against Herbert, you've got the right two in there, because that could be a shootout, couldn't it? Let's be honest. Because they're playing each other. So, I like that. I like that tactic. So I would leave them both in, especially if Tua's playing.
Yeah, let's leave Tua and Herbert in as well. A bit of question marks, obviously, about Deshaun Watson still. I don't think we're going to see the full-fledged Watson.
Yeah, so we saw him against Houston, and now he's playing Cincinnati, I think, and that's they're a lot different defense. So you got to see Watson get his rust off before you play him over those two, especially.
Absolutely. So let's see if Herbert and Tua in there for now, and let's have a look. Running back room we do have to address, because we have Antonio Gibson on a bye, and we have I said Rachaad. It is Rachaad White, is it? Am I getting that right?
Yep,
that's right. Rachaad White. So Antonio Gibson is there. Rachaad White is there. Gibson has to come out.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram is out. Jerick McKinnon has been a solid, nice little scorer almost every week in fantasy. He was a guy that I went out and kind of picked up off a load of waivers. I don't know if Melvin Gordon arriving is going to change anything. I don't think Melvin Gordon's going to take away from McKinnon, actually. I actually imagine it'll be Isaiah Pacheco that'll be more influenced by Melvin Gordon.
Revenge game. If Gordon is active, I don't think he's going to play. Well, I say that, mind. He's had a couple of weeks now. I'm surprised he didn't play last week. So, with Clyde injury, if it is McKinnon and Pacheco, that's not a bad fill-in. Is this full point PPR? Or
I think, it's even full point PPR.
That's fine, yeah. I mean, Pacheco doesn't offer much in the passing game, and they throw so much. So I would be okay with McKinnon. Is there nothing on the wire in this league?
No. Anything on the wire I've got. I think I'm kind of snapped up as much off the wire.
Well, there might be a couple of Seahawks running backs this week that might be plug and play. That's all with Ken Walker. Right?
I have
so it might be worth
a bid in. I maybe put a bid on DJ Dallas, but I can't remember if I got him or not.
Out of those options, I mean, it's a no-brainer with McKinnon. I think you've got to start 2 running backs. Let's get him in.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get McKinnon in there. We got Jerick McKinnon and Rachaad White starting in a 10-man league. Hey, gotta love it, right? But that's the strategy you gotta have. I seen this team was not a team where I'm thinking I could be unlucky here. This was a team I was like, I have no chance. I cannot win the championship with. I didn't even have Chris Godwin at the time. I had somebody else. With Keenan Allen and Alan Lazard as my best 2 receivers, like it's not possible. So I sold.
Well, Keenan, I guess before Keenan Allen got injured, you might have had a shout there, but it's the running backs really. It's hard to win any league or win a few games with running backs that before Rachaad White broke into Fournette's workload, you probably were struggling at the running back position. I can imagine as well.
Absolutely. So let's move along then. Let's have a look at the receivers. So Chris Godwin, I went out and made a trade for Chris Godwin in this league. I believe. Let's have a look. I mean, that doesn't look great, but Josh Jacobs, that was a guy, right, that I had on my team, and it's like, ooh, this is at the start of the season. Doesn't look great now, but actually, I was like, you know what? I don't want Jacobs on this team. I need to get these receivers in. So I got Godwin and Bateman, who up in the air. Got rid of Hunt and Golladay and Jacobs.
Well, Golladay obviously. Well done for that one, but it's weird because it's essentially 2 running backs for 2 wide receivers there. So, I mean, I don't think you've done that bad because I think Bateman comes back and Godwin's off this year. I think it's due to his injury, if I'm honest. Everyone, if we remember what happened last year, we didn't think we'd see him until October, if I'm honest, late October, November. So I think we're going to give him a pass this year, and obviously they're running a bit more. But he's got to start for you. So we're not going to talk about Godwin. No. I don't think. No. Especially in 4-point PPR.
Well, let's go.
Allen's a definite. Allen's a definite because you've got to stack with Herbert and he's back and his PPR as well. So he's a definite. Yeah. So Lazard's got to come out.
Yeah.
What have we got?
Let's have a look. Well, Jahan Dotson's he's on a bye, so he's no use. Khalif Raymond is there. He's questionable. So let's have a little peek. Who's down here? Hollywood Brown. Hey, he's back, right?
So he's got to go in.
I think we got to put Hollywood Brown in, right? So let's put in Hollywood Brown. Let's have a look at because I traded also for Hollywood Brown. So let's have a little peek. This is, like I said, going to be slightly different. It's kind of about rebuilding and seeing kind of moves that you could make at this time of year for rebuilding. So Hollywood Brown, I think this was a more of a contender. Yeah. So I moved on. I gave up Alvin Kamara, George Kittle, and a 2023 second that was not mine. So not my second.
Okay. Yeah.
And I got Hollywood Brown and Cal Pitts.
So when was this trade made?
This was
it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah. I was going to say, was it before the Pitts injury? Or
I think Pitts was injured.
Yeah, I was going to say because I think you win that hands down if it's early on in the year.
No,
I
it
think
wasn't.
Pitts kind of had that kind of momentum, didn't he?
Yeah.
And people know that Kamara obviously getting injured and Kittle's bringing back, Ayuk and Samuel. We weren't sure how those three would eat in San Francisco, but actually McCaffrey back now really, I think, has made a dent into Kittle's production, if I'm honest. McCaffrey being in San Francisco, so I think you've won that trade again.
I'm pretty happy
Yeah,
with that. I thought
even
that
with
was a
Pitts, to be honest, even with Pitts injured, it fits your team a lot more for next year, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a trade the guy I was trading with as well. He's in contention to win the whole thing. And he was like, well, I need support here. I've lost. Yes. Because he had lost Cal Pitts.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let's see what we can do. So
That's
kind of worked out for
that's
both.
the kind of trades you want to do. The only thing I would say to that trade is to work the other way is I don't really like, if you're not contending, I don't want to add any picks. Now, I know you added that second and you still won the trade, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, there's something about me, if I'm not contending, I don't want to give any picks away because I'm going to be, but you said it's not yours. Did you say it wasn't yours? Okay.
It's not my pick, no.
Story. But that could have been, if it was yours, that could have been pick 11 if in a 10-man league, because you could be the bottom. And that'd be a strong pick in a Superflex league.
It's the first round pick, essentially, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that would be my only thing to play devil's advocate there or whatever.
Yeah.
But cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's a good little talk point as well, actually, right? If you're looking at your leagues, like the value of these picks goes up hugely because it's 10-man.
Absolutely.
So you're getting these players in the second that go in the first in your regular 12-man leagues, and vice versa. If you're playing in a 16-man league, those picks are kind of devalued. Those later first rounds are really devalued because now that's like a mid-second to late first. So you got to really pay attention how many people are in that league. So we'll get Hollywood Brown sitting in there at wide receiver. Taysom Hill, he's on a bye as well. So let's have a look. We got Daniel Bellinger there, one of my favorite rookies coming out of this year, who's done really well. Yeah,
I agree. I think you could play him, put him in that slot already, and then because we'll have a look at the flexes in a minute. But I think he's a strong. He's it's a tough matchup against Philadelphia, but he's on the field for 97% of snaps. There's no other competition there. The big thing for the Giants, they've lost Wanda Robinson. Richie James is not that good, really, by the looks of things in the slot. So they're missing a slot receiver, and that's where the tight end would eat. I like it.
Absolutely. And Darius Slayton's obviously been playing, getting the big
outside
games for them. But, he drops. It's almost 1 in every 5 passes Darius Slayton drops.
Well, I think that's because it might be because the A dot as well, man. He's these balls are coming out of the sky. I actually think he's a good. Why he fits that team quite well. It's surprising with Slayton. When he came out, I remember 4 years ago, or whatever. He actually looked really good, and then he just fell to the bottom of the chain when Golladay came in and these other players came in. And actually, he's better than most of them. So it's good to see him flourish. I think.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see players have a bit of a redemption arc, right? But Daniel Bellinger definitely coming out of the blocks hot. So let's get him in, and we now need to address these two guys, Jahan Dotson. Another guy who I really like this year, playing really well, and Taysom Hill, and I mean Khalif Raymond. Hopefully, we won't have to start as well, right? But let's see who we can.
You might have to
bring in. You might have to, yeah. So Mark Ingram, no. Albert O. I mean, he's not done much, right? Marlon Mack, no. Can't start Lazard. This could be a problem. Mitchell, I don't think he's done anything. Brevin Jordan, he's not done much. Ronnie Rivers and Tommy Tremble.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Right. And are you sure there's nothing on the wire? I know I keep saying that, but let's have a quick look. Come on,
let's have a scan,
time.
Right?
We've got to do better than this.
Yeah, surely. Right, let's have a look. So how do we check the wire on the
players
browser? Let's go players, free agents. Right.
Okay.
And let's have a look. Let's go flex spot, right? Well, there's the first guy up you've already called terrible.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he would probably start in this team, I guess. But
probably
Kendall Hinton's not bad. Just because I think Cortland Sutton's going to miss. So you want in your flex spots, especially when you're kind of this rung of players. You want people just on the field at this point. Yeah. Kendall Hinton will not leave the field with Cortland Sutton.
Am I seeing that right? Is that Mike Gesicki?
It is, yeah. Is he? Yeah.
Hello, I'll have some of that. Tell you what, I've
Yeah.
only got 2 fab left, but let's hope
Oh,
no one
dumb.
else. Hopefully, no one else sees it.
Probably
So
get rid of Rivers. You said Rivers was on your team, maybe.
Yeah, right. Let's get rid of
Get
good
rid
old
of
Ronnie.
Rivers.
Ronnie
He's had
Phillippe.
his chance, I think.
Let's. I'll not.
Yeah.
I'll not put any. Well, I'll just leave it at that. We'll make a waiver bid claim. Hopefully, we get Mike Juwan Jennings. He's been playing all right too.
Yeah, he's been playing all right. Yeah. Chris Moore. I think both Houston receivers are banged up.
Okay.
I don't think Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks train this week. So, and it's Thursday. That might be one. He'll be on the field again. Again, I think just looking at your team, you want people. You want players that are on your field. Yeah. Not much else apart from those top, I would say.
Yeah, nothing else standing out too much. Well, let's put a sneaky little bid in then on. What are you thinking? Chris Moore was there, and
let's have a look at Kendall Hinton, because they will be behind against the Chiefs, Tyler. Let's see his snap percentage when. So look, if you look down here, 96%, 88% snap. He's on the field a lot, and last game he wasn't because Sutton and Judy were playing. I think he probably in a game against Kansas City where they need to throw Denver might get you 10 PPR points, but the ceiling's not there, unfortunately, for any of these players.
Well, let's see if we can bring him in, and who are we thinking of getting it? I mean, James Mitchell isn't doing much, right?
Yeah, I think it would be him. I think he's the one. Yep. I'm going to go past him.
Let's go.
And then at least you've got, if you do get Gesicki and Hinton, I would plug them both in your flexes. Cool.
Absolutely. Well, let's see then. If we can plug, I don't think we can plug anyone in really at the minute. So we got to hopefully.
No.
Well, let's put in who are the people that will actually, play a snap. We'll put them in.
Tremble Tremble. I don't know too much about Tremble, but they are changing the quarterback to Darnold. Yeah, I'd have to click him and check how he is, but
we'll punt him in for now, right?
Yeah.
Let's see a snap share, will we? Okay.
So he's on the field again. He's not really doing that much with the catches, but at least he's on the field, And again, you don't know where Sam Darnold's going to look in that game. Seattle as well is a good matchup for tight ends.
True,
definitely.
Well, we'll leave him in there, and hopefully we'll get one of these guys off the waiver wire, and the second one in.
Max, this is tough.
I told you.
This is
tough. Remember, this is 10-man league. At the start, you were like, "Oh, it's maybe not that bad."
Put Brevin Jordan in. Put Brevin Jordan in. You got to. You can't put anyone else in. Put him in.
All right, Brevin. Where are you?
Brevin's in. He's in. But if you're starting those two, you're in trouble, I think. And 3. Let's include Raymond in that as well.
Yeah, I mean it's not pretty, but this is.
Yep.
This is a thorough. This team needed a nice home to go to, so I thought I'd do my a favor and pick them up. So it's a work in progress. It's going to look very, very different when I have my sort of 6 higher end rookie picks coming in at the end of the season. So most of these guys, unfortunately, will be out the door, and we'll get a couple of nice rookies in to freshen the squad up, and then we've got 3 more first rounds in 24 to freshen them up, even more. So. I'm feeling okay about it. Let's have a look, and we'll go over the final line. I mean, it's going to be hard to even say. We'll go over the final lineup then for the matchup coming up this week. So, Antonio, let's just run over the final lineup. Then we got Tua Tagovailoa starting in there. We've got Jerick McKinnon, Rachaad White. We got Chris Godwin, Keenan Allen, and Marquise Hollywood Brown. And then we got, this is where the fun starts. Daniel Bellinger, Tommy Tremble, Brevin Jordan, Khalif Raymond, and Justin Herbert. Wow. what an absolute stud team we've got.
I'm going to have
there,
to find
right?
out how many. If you do set that lineup, I want to know how many points that team scored, please, if that's
I will
possible.
let you know.
You let me
I
know.
will
Thank
let
you
you
so
know
much.
how many points. I must be the lowest scorer in that league by some distance, so I'll let you know that as well.
Cool.
So,
But yeah,
what
you
is
set.
then?
You set. No.
Yeah,
You've got loads of picks. Some
yeah,
really good receivers. You got 3 good receivers there. Let's be honest. That you're starting. And I do. Gibson has flashed this year, and
yeah.
Rashad White looks like a starter. As
Yes.
early as next year with 4 out of the door. So your quarterbacks are strong as well.
Mhm.
So there are things to work with there, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of then the rebuild here, what
Mm,
kind of moves would you be making aside from obviously the picks that I've got? Is there anyone
yeah.
on there you're like sell that person if you can, or any players in particular like you should go out and try and buy this person? There are some people. I'll tell you the people I've been trying to sell. We'll start there. I
Go on then.
cannot, for love or money, sell Keenan Allen. No one wants him.
Yeah, obviously this year is hard to sell a player like that
Yeah,
because people have seen even after his game last week, we got 75 yards and a touchdown. That's not enough to pull back the 12 weeks of pain that people have seen with
yeah,
Keenan Allen. So I think this year you've got to hold him. You can't sell for anything
yeah.
because he is with Herbert next year as well. Let's forget that. I would sell
True.
him after a few flashes. Hopefully, he stays fit early next year. If I'm honest, I think you've got to move one of your quarterbacks. That's
Yeah.
where you're going to get value for. And
Yes.
I don't really want to sell her, but I think he's got to stay.
Yeah.
But you probably could get the most for him. Lawrence has showed enough this year. If you wanted to sell him, you could probably get decent return on him. If I'm
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
I think he's been good. He's climbing up people's dynasty. He was the
Yeah.
golden boy. Don't forget. Again, you can't really sell Watson, so he's cold, in my opinion. I think I would look at Lawrence as a potential sell over
Okay.
Tua, actually. Over Tua.
Yeah, Tua. I'm loving what Tua is doing at the minute. I think, and that team, it seems to be locked in. Like Tyreek Hill's not going anywhere. Jill Waddle's not going anywhere. I think that's looking pretty good. And hopefully, if the Dolphins have got their thinking hats on, they'll just keep bolstering that offensive line to protect Tua. And yeah, they're going places, I think.
Yeah, the only thing with Lawrence is I think didn't they trade for Calvin Ridley as well
Yeah,
next year?
Calvin
So
Ridley.
it's is his ceiling going to grow? Now or have we seen it this year? That would be the biggest thing. It's either
Yeah.
Lawrence or Tua, but I think if they keep Waddle and Hill for next year, and they've got this head coach, and that see Tua outproducing Lawrence with those weapons still.
Yeah.
So who
Yeah,
would
it is.
probably get you the most value? Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
are you against Herbert, letting Herbert go? Or would you
No,
say
I
that he's a
think
staple for your team?
you can't really like everybody's got a price, obviously. Like I will like if someone comes in with an offer for Herbert that I can't refuse, like I mean, I need those kind of elite
Yeah.
cornerstones. And with Herbert, he is an elite cornerstone, but so are some other players in that team, and I can't afford to lose a quarterback. So if it's like a deal involving Justin Jefferson, if it's a deal involving, Jamar Chase, something like that, then I'm interested in moving Herbert along. But it has to be something involving those top tier elite skill players. I mean, I could get a quarterback coming the other way, I suppose, but then I'm kind of back where I started with the same situation. So it would need to be, a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, or people like that coming in, or like if next year we get to, if I don't end up with Bijan Robinson, I think I will though, something like that, right?
Well, I guess you're going to address the running back position as you just said. So Gibson's another name I would say that you could potentially shop around because he's been good enough this year without a dedicated role next year by the looks of things with Robinson.
Yeah.
So he was the only other name. I don't think you've got that much else to work with. Maybe Lawrence or Herbert, and then Gibson would be the other name. I wouldn't want to get off those 3 receivers just yet. I think Godwin, like I said, has had a down year. I think he'll rebound next year. Allen hasn't shown enough. and Hollywood Brown, I still want to see them both with Hopkins, but don't forget Hopkins next year is going to be a year older. And Hollywood Brown actually commanded a massive target share earlier, so I want to see what they are like when they're playing together.
Me too.
But I think Hollywood's trending up next year. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll see. I'll maybe pull out some feelers for Justin Herbert. I'll post this episode into the group chat as well and see what if anyone has any offers for Justin Herbert or Antonio Gibson or any of those guys that we mentioned. Okay, right. So I'll keep you posted on how we do with that, Antonio. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little look at one of your teams, right? So,
okay.
Let's see if we can pull it up. Oh, it's just kind of disappeared off our screen.
Oh,
do you mind clicking that back up for us there? And we'll just have a chat through who we think should be starting this week, and then any kind of future moves that you could be making.
So this league is at the moment. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this league is the one at the moment. I mean, this is the one I'm on the edge of the playoffs. I'm pretty much in the playoffs for all of the leagues, all of the 7 or 8 dynasty leagues.
Yeah.
This is the one where it's week 14 win and in situation. So, and I didn't think this was a contender. This is the thing. You start the season, you don't think it's a contender. First of all, you look at Watson. That should be a signal that I didn't think I was a contender, because obviously he didn't play 13 games of the season. So, and all of a sudden, I've been carried by some of those names that you'll see underneath, I think, to the point where I thought, right, if I can hang on until Watson comes back, you never know. And here we are, but he's not really done anything, so I don't know why he's in my lineup. Yeah. But,
isn't that really interesting? So I just said, if you look at that, you can see obviously 97% of people own Watson. Only 54% of people who own him are starting him.
Yeah. And I think that's right after what we saw last week. So I really think we need to have a think about that position as I scroll down and show you my other options. But so I'll just show you my. I'll go down first. We'll have a look. I've got Watson at quarterback. Then at the moment, Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs in there at running back. Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, and Juju Smith-Schuster as my 3 wide receivers. So this is a 10-man league. Half point PPR.
Half point. Okay.
Evan Ingram.
Yep.
Yeah, at tight end.
He's playing okay, right?
He's doing all right. He's doing okay.
Yeah. He must be a top 10 for the year, right? He's got to be in the top 10 for tight ends in the year.
Yeah, I think he is actually. Let's have a look. Actually, he's there or thereabouts. Oh, at the moment he's hovering around 14, 15. So
okay.
Yeah, I thought he'd done a lot better than that as well.
I thought he would have been.
Yeah, but there he is. He's been a bit hit and miss. So DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson in the flex spots. Nice. And Mike White's in at the moment because I think he's shown enough the last couple of games, but I don't like the matchup against Buffalo. So that's the starting lineup that I've got set at the moment, actually. I set that today. So actually, it'd be nice to kind of listen to your opinion now I've set it. Maybe I've done this the wrong way around. But I need to, as I said to you, I need to win to get in.
Okay. So the pressure. Okay.
There's pressure, yeah.
Right, let's have a look. Let's start with quarterback and work our way through like we did with my team then. So so we got Deshaun Watson and we got Mike White. So what are the other options then at quarterback?
Okay, so if I just click this, it should highlight just quarterbacks. Yes. Mike White obviously in there, and I think that's it. So Baker Mayfield, who is, even if he starts, I don't really want to play him.
No.
Although, there's just no way you're playing him after the 3 days that he got traded. Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett. So I am weak at quarterback, and this is why I was saying to you, really, I didn't think this was a contender, but really Wilson starting, Mayfield started a few, Pickett started. I've strung enough together to the likes of Watson and White, and now carrying the team. But that is it. I should add, actually, I've got, in terms of picks, so again, this is, I didn't think I was a contender. Yeah. And a couple of seconds next year more. So 3 firsts, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really help me now because I want to get in. And it's the same thing. If I get in now, it's a nice clean sweep. I'm in the playoffs in every league.
That would be lovely.
Oh, it'd be beautiful. But it doesn't look like it with this team.
So my advice here is, what is your likelihood? So I know sleeper predictive score, the projected score isn't always brilliant.
Yeah.
But what is your percentage chance to win this matchup? Because my answer will change depending on that.
Well, he hasn't. I don't think he set his team yet. So look, he hasn't set his. But he is 3-10.
Okay.
We could have a quick squeeze through.
Let's have a quick scan. Yeah.
Okay, he's got Justin Herbert. He's got Najee Harris, Amari Cooper, Ayuk.
That's interesting.
A lot of people on the bye, yeah.
So he's got Amari Cooper. So any points he gets for Amari Cooper, you'll also be getting for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting little wrinkle, right? So
for
you, this isn't about putting up as many points as possible. This is about just beating that guy.
I think it is, yeah.
You're kind of eliminating one of his main weapons, Amari Cooper, by playing Deshaun Watson there, right?
Yeah, essentially, because he can't score without him. So that's a good point.
So I think you stick with Deshaun Watson there, even though there is a chance Kenny Pickett against that Baltimore secondary that still isn't 100%. Mike White or Kenny Pickett is more interesting because
that's why he's in that slot. I think Mike White or Kenny Pickett was the decision, and you don't want to look at these sleeper, as you said.
Not really.
To be honest, I've seen enough from Mike White to trust him. I think even in a tough matchup, because last week was a tough against the Vikings, and he put up 20 plus fantasy points. Pickett hasn't got that ceiling. I haven't seen it this year, so
no.
Yeah, I think the safer play is probably Pickett.
Especially with that weather. It depends. You can see it's kind of predicted to be windy. If it is like a thunderstorm or if it's like a gale force winds, then I think you swap out Pickett. But I mean,
cool.
For now, I think you're right. I would hold Mike White. Hopefully, they kind of nickel and dime their way down the field, and Mike White picks up little points here and there, and is okay to score you a decent amount just to be safe. And as well, it looks like you're favored to win this matchup, so that is quite good. Unless, I don't know if we checked, does the guy you're playing happen to have like Deontay Johnson or George Pickens or something like that? Just to kind of double up on that. He's got Mitch Trubisky, that doesn't it?
Right? I think he has. I think his team's quite weak. Actually, he's got loads of players on bye. So I'm favourite, but you never know because he's got a few ceiling players here like Ayuk and Cooper and Harris. So I think that's pretty good place to be.
I would stick with Mike White then for now for sure. And then, I mean, looking at your running backs, you're probably not moving Pollard or Jacobs, right? Unless Jacobs' injury is rules him out. I think you got to be pretty happy with those. Right?
Yeah, and I've got Swift and Stevenson in the flex, so that's why I'm kind of happy with the running backs. There might be someone.
Smashy P. I don't know if Joe Mixon's back. Probably, right?
Probably. I think. Just looking at those names there, Pirine, Hines, Homer and Dallas, I've got them both. I think I've got them both off the wire this week. I really think one of them's going to play and one of them's not going to play, but they're not going to break into that team. I agree with you completely. So we can probably skip over running backs, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, Pollard against Houston, that could be really, really good, right?
And tonight, I think he's been... The Rams are pretty good against the run, but I think they're missing Aaron Donald. I really think Jacobs is set and forget this year as RB2. You have to
spot on,
so this might be worth keeping an eye on for the running back. For the questionable tag, because I thought you dropped that questionable tag. Actually, he's getting healthier, and all of a sudden he's back on that. So
I owned quite a lot of DeAndre Swift. I'm sort of decreasing the amount of DeAndre Swift that I own. I'm selling him for not on the cheap, but just kind of putting out feelers.
Yeah.
I got an offer in one league, DeAndre Swift for 2 firsts. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Just
Well, do you want to see what I got for him?
Yeah,
I actually
let's
traded
go.
for him mid-season.
Let's have a look.
So Derrick Henry.
Ooh. DeAndre Swift and a second for Henry and a third. That seems about right, yeah.
So I got Swift and the second, yeah. And this was at the time where I really thought I was not contending. So I thought,
get a bit younger,
Henry,
get a bit better in the picks.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
There you are.
But yeah, definitely keep an eye on that questionable tag for Swift.
Yes.
Hopefully should be all okay. And then we got, who do we have here? Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Again, that wind in that Buffalo game. Gabe Davis, obviously, that downfield threat. If it's, really, really windy, could be less of a Gabe Davis game, more of a, dare I say, James Cook game, and strong running game as well, right? Definitely keep an eye on that. What kind of other options you got at the wide receiver position?
Let's have a look. DeAndre Carter.
Yep.
Demarcus Robinson, he's done all right for Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Zay Jones is an interesting one at Tennessee. That's a good matchup.
Zay Jones has been playing very well as well. Like the last couple of weeks, Zay Jones has been very good.
I think that what puts me off there is maybe I'm starting Ingram. But that really shouldn't matter. But that might just be in the back of my mind. And really, Gabe Davis, you just don't want to bench Gabe Davis or Juju, because you'll just miss their boom weeks.
There's
Elijah...
a name there.
Hang on, I'll put someone in.
Careful.
I'll put someone
in. You put in Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Let's get Gabe back in for now.
Is this the name?
It is the name, Treylon Burks.
He's
been playing well. I would be surprised if he plays, because it looked like he got knocked out last week, right?
Yeah, I think that's why I've left him out. But I guess let's think that he is going to play. You would start him over Gabe Davis or DJ Moore or Juju?
DJ Moore would be the name I'm looking at there. Mainly because
let's put that in. See what
Sam Darnold, right? It's hard to know what you're going to get with Sam Darnold. Whenever he was playing initially, him and DJ Moore didn't really have the best connection. DJ Moore's connection really came with PJ Walker rather than Sam Darnold. So, I mean, if Burks does play, I think I would go Treylon Burks over DJ Moore, which I never thought I would say at the start of the year. But then, I doubt he will play.
I don't think he'll play.
Yeah, just looking at how more stringent they're becoming with these concussion checks. Thankfully, it would be a bit dangerous to let him play. So I think we can maybe leave DJ Moore in for now and have a look and see if he does become available. And Juju Smith-Schuster is there. He's got a pretty safe floor. I think he'll get you your 8, 9, 10 points, and he could explode as well. You never know.
Yeah, he's been off since his concussion. If you look here, so he went down in this game, I think. And before that, he's putting up 20, 23, 15. All of a sudden, he went off. Then he had the week off for the concussion. And since he's been back, Mahomes hasn't. I'm a bit why these numbers are 4 and 3, but
So the game against the Rams. So I'm obviously a Chiefs fan. I watch all the Chiefs. The game against the Rams. It seemed to me that in that game the Chiefs kind of were pretty confident that they were going to get the win. Obviously, Matthew Stafford was ruled out. They had their backup. They were missing Aaron Donald. They had no weapons. That looked to me like a experimental playbook. It was a very different looking Chiefs attack. Things were you've seen players that aren't typical Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes kind of players. It looked to me that once they'd established the lead, they were just kind of trying stuff, and they were never really afraid of the lead. So I didn't really take too many takeaways from that game in terms of fantasy wise, because I think that was more of a safe game, and the Chiefs were just kind of trying things. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. And I mean, last week against the Bengals was just not the best performance from the Chiefs. The Bengals did amazingly well at shutting the Chiefs down. And you're right. You don't want to take Juju out because you'll miss his boom week, and it's been coming now. Obviously, you've seen a few of their building up, so it could be this week against Denver, who, I mean, unless Patrick Surtain follows them around,
that's unlikely, I think, because he goes into the slot a lot, doesn't it? He's more likely on MVS. Okay, cool. That's good to know. And I agree with you about Burks if he plays. And then the weakest spot for me is tight end. You know, if I highlight Evan Ingram, we just saw he's number 14, and the only other, I don't know how I've managed this, but the only other tight end is Higbee, and actually he did really well. So I have gone back and forth. I think I had someone else, you know, and I might have sold them. I can't remember the name, but I've been going back and forth with Ingram and Higbee, and now I'm starting to struggle. So that's probably by far the weakest link, and I'm going to go Ingram in that situation. I don't think it's a bad matchup versus Tennessee. You know, so
I think I would go Ingram, especially with you know, a new quarterback coming in there. I think.
Good point.
Just stick with the safer option there, and hopefully you'll get enough from your other players to carry you over the line.
Also, I got Jonathan Taylor on the back.
Jonathan Taylor on the back, if you sneak in the playoffs, that's going to be big, I think.
That's what I was thinking. My running backs, actually, I probably should, you know, going back to what you think I should be doing. My running backs are really strong. You know, Pollard, Jacobs, then Swift, Stevenson, and Jonathan Taylor. I don't probably need all those running backs when I'm a little bit weaker at receiver and tight end. So I think that could be a move that I should be making. But you can never have enough running backs.
That's the thing about running.
It's nice to be strong at running back.
Yeah, even especially now, it's like you need to go out and you just, even though you might never. I have so many shares of Deonta Foreman that I never play, but I like having him just in case. Right, just to have him there. Like even making trades that I don't particularly like making. Like recently made a trade with Ali Cook over the Dynasty Grill. I give up like Mike Williams because I needed to get Deonta Foreman, and I got Juju Smith-Schuster as well. Didn't love it, but I was like, I need the backup. I need the help. So didn't like getting rid of big Mike Williams, but I needed the depth pieces. So sometimes you got to make trades like. Sometimes you ought to make trades you don't like sometimes. So you just have to do it. Yeah. But
I can definitely attack the tight end position. But I'm happy with this team, to be honest. And like I said, I got these picks down here. So, you know, a 10-team league, a couple of them are going to be early, I think. And we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a couple of sneaky tight ends coming out next year as well. Is it? No, am I butchering this?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't looked deep enough, especially in the tight end position for next year.
There's a guy.
The only thing with tight end
Dalton
position,
Kincaid is like.
Is it okay? I remember that name.
Yeah.
But the thing with tight end, you know, you look at Trey McBride was obviously one of the highest. Although this was a bad class, wasn't it? I think for tight end in general. The years before, Pat Frymuth and Kyle Pitts, you know, that was a good year. And then, I think the tight ends coming out of college, they really, you know, it's either a good year and they're ready to go now, which is, you know, the Evan Ingram year that I remember. He's in the team. Or you give him a couple of years and, you know, Frymuth's starting to come through now and the likes. So, But, I think I wish I was stronger at tight end, really, in this league. And quarterback, actually, thinking about it, with Watson and Pickett. So I'll be looking to use one of those early picks, probably on a quarterback for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got three guys coming through a quarterback who are looking pretty strong. At least three. Maybe by the time the draft comes along, who knows who's going to be going higher. But at the minute, there's the was it Stroud and Young and
Stroud
seem to be the three names. But who knows who's going to appear out of nowhere. So Antonio, do you want to run us through your final start? Well, for now anyway, your final starting lineup for this week coming forward, and hopefully this will get you into the playoffs.
Hopefully, and that'll be a clean sweep. So Watson at quarterback, Pollard, Jacobs at running back, then Gabe Davis, and we put Treylon Burks in there instead of DJ Moore, but I'll be keeping a close eye on that one.
And
Juju. And then a tight end, it was between Evan Ingram and Higbee, so no decision there. And then Swift and Stevenson, pretty good flexes, provided Swift goes. And then the other decision we made was Mike White over Pickett.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it.
Nice. That looks good to me. And hopefully that is, good enough to get you to the playoffs and make that absolute clean sweep, Antonio. That will be brilliant. And that brings us to the end of the show. Antonio, I just wanted to say thank you so much once again for coming back onto the hot seat. Do you just remind people listening, working there, find you online?
Yes, on Twitter, FF_LightsOut7. You can see my handle there, and over at 5 Yard Dynasty, and on the podcast at Play Action Pass. So come and listen.
Absolutely perfect, and thank you once again, and thanks to everyone for listening. Remember, if you like the episode, then make sure you're leaving a thumbs up or a 5-star review, or if you're on YouTube, hey, why not give it the little like button, the little thumbs up, and see if we can get Antonio. I'm pointing the wrong way. Antonio onto that Hall of Flame. At the minute, we still got Murph and Jay, and oh my goodness, Kev is going to fall out with me because you can't see his name, but he is under there. The Dynasty Goat is under there. I'll have to reposition it for next time. So sorry, Kev, you've been blanked out the whole show, but you can follow him at Dynasty_Goat, everybody. Sorry, I'll give him that publicity that he missed. So Antonio, thanks again for coming on. Guys, thank you once again for listening. Best of luck this week, the game before the playoffs begin. And everybody, remember, keep yourselves and your teams lit. I will see you next time.
Bye.